Pandoc is the gold standard for document conversion, but it is a massive 180 megabyte binary. What if you could get the same power in a fraction of the size and dozens of times faster? Pandoc has been the gold standard for document format conversion for decades. It embeds decades of JGM experience into an incredibly capable piece of software. But it comes with two real problems that power users have lived with for a long time. First, the binary is enormous. A single Apple Silicon build sits at around 180 megabytes. Second, it can be relatively slow, especially when you need to convert multiple documents in a row. Over the past weeks, developer Maximilian Krause has been working on Carta, a fast and lightweight reimplementation of Pandoc written in Rust. The compiled binary is around 20 times smaller than Pandoc while being up to 45 times faster. That is the kind of performance leap that catches attention. But is Carta ready to replace Pandoc in your workflow, or is it still growing into its shoes? That is what we are going to explore today. So what exactly is Carta? According to the project README, Carta is described as a universal document converter written in Rust. The core idea is simple and elegant. You read a markup format and Carta renders it back out in another format entirely. The project has three main goals. First, performance and a lightweight binary. Second, a developer-friendly library with the command line acting as a thin shell over the library itself. And third, feature parity with Pandoc across all formats and extensions. The project is open source and licensed under either the MIT license or the Apache 2.0 license at your option. The author is Maximilian Krause, and the project is currently in active development, which means the API is still evolving, and not all of Pandoc features are implemented yet. Let us talk about the numbers that matter most. The post on Reddit claims that Carta delivers a compiled binary around 20 times smaller than Pandoc and up to 45 times faster. Those are impressive headline numbers. The author specifically calls out two pain points with Pandoc: the 180 megabyte Apple Silicon build and the slowness when converting multiple documents. Carta addresses both directly. The project also lets you shrink the binary even further through compile time feature selection. You can build Carta with only the specific reader and writer formats you need using cargo features. For example, you can compile with just read common mark and write HTML, stripping out everything else you will never use. This kind of targeted build is something that makes Carta particularly attractive for CI pipelines and constrained environments where every megabyte counts. Under the hood, Carta works very similarly to Pandoc. It parses documents into an internal abstract syntax tree, which can then be written to another format. This gives you the union of reader formats and writer formats as your possible conversions. The library exposes a convert text shortcut for text-to-text conversion and a general convert entry point that takes raw bytes and returns an output object that is text or bytes depending on the target format. You can use Carta from the command line or import it as a Rust library directly. The command line interface supports standard flags like listing input formats, listing output formats, and listing extensions for a given format. You can even pipe input from standard input and write to standard output, which makes it easy to drop into existing shell scripts and pipelines. The format support is where Carta is both impressive and honest about its current state. The formats page at carta.rs/formats lists every format Carta knows about and its support status. Carta names formats the same way Pandoc does, so a command written for one runs against the other. The Markdown family is well covered. Common Mark X, GitHub Flavored Markdown, Pandoc Markdown, GitHub Markdown, Multi-Markdown, PHP Markdown Extra, and Markdown Strict are all listed as usable for both reading and writing. On the output side, HTML, HTML4, Beamer, LaTeX, Tipst, and Reveal.js are usable. The library also supports org mode, restructured text, and several wiki formats like DokuWiki, Jira, and MediaWiki. However, the post is clear about what is missing. PDF output is not yet implemented, and Lua filters are on the backlog. The full per-format breakdown and extension coverage is available in the status file on GitHub. Getting Carta up and running is straightforward. The project provides pre-built binaries for Linux with both x86 GNU and static muscle builds, ARM64, Mac OS on both Intel and Apple Silicon, and Windows on x86-64. You can install via cargo binstall carta to fetch the matching pre-built binary directly, or cargo install carta from crates.io. If you want the smallest possible binary, you can build from source with cargo build release and select only the formats you need using the no default features flag with specific features. The minimum supported Rust version is 1.93. On the command line, a typical conversion looks like carta with the input format flag set to common mark, the output format flag set to HTML, and your input file. Carta also supports standalone mode with a table of contents and numbered sections, which is useful for generating complete documents from Markdown. The community response on the open source subreddit has been encouraging. One commenter noted that a Rust Pandoc rewrite is a welcome development indeed, and mentioned they are going to evaluate Carta for use in README to produce HTML previews of generated README files. Another commenter asked whether any real document performance comparisons have been done, noting that the 45 times figure sounds fast and wondering if it holds up on normal documents. They also mentioned writing a Pandoc bridge for Carve. A third commenter pointed out that, for users considering migration, a compatibility corpus may be even more valuable than headline speed. They suggested running the same representative documents through both Pandoc and Carta, normalizing non-deterministic metadata, and publishing semantic and visual diffs per format to show exactly where Carta is a drop in replacement today. They also asked whether round-trip cases like Markdown to docx back to Markdown are on the roadmap. So where does Carta stand today? It is a genuinely promising Rust alternative to Pandoc that delivers on its core promises of speed and a smaller binary footprint. The format support for the most common use cases is already solid, and the compile time feature selection means you can keep your build lean. It is not quite a full drop in replacement yet. PDF output and Lua filters are still missing, and the compatibility data that commenters are asking for has not been published yet. If you are a Rust developer or someone who cares deeply about binary size and conversion speed, Carta is absolutely worth testing. The project is open source, well documented, and the author is clearly responsive to feedback. Keep an eye on this one as it matures. If you found Carta interesting, hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into great open source tools. Let me know in the comments if you have tried Carta or if you are planning to. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.